Many young people considering their future careers are put off catering because of the long hours and extremely hard work. But dedication can pay rich rewards.
I think we've got a fantastic job at this level, and sky's the limit. I mean, there's no stopping me now. My ambition on a personal front is to go for 3 Michelin stars. I achieved 2 Michelin stars in 3 years, and the only other person who's ever done that in this country is Marco White. I'm not in a race against him, but the thing I drive my guys to, I'm sure madness sometimes, but is total perfection, because unfortunately 90% of the catering industry is not a very attractive job to be in. And if I find myself at the age of 35, 40, still working split shifts 6, 7 days a week for £300 a week, I'd rather put a gun to my head. Guys spend on average 2 to 2.5 years. Some guys, I've had 3 guys that spent 3 years with me, which is phenomenal. It's a great shame to see them go. But we both benefit. First of all, I don't become complacent, thinking that's set up, that's done. I stay firmly in the kitchen. I nurture them, and I train them to something that I find is at the highest level. And I like to sort of put myself in them, so they leave with everything I feel with, my respect for making a ravioli, filleting a sea bass, making a beautiful tomato and basil vinaigrette, understanding how to make an amazing pistachio souffle, and making a wonderful classic red wine sauce, the basic elements of cooking. And they really got to feel for it. And the most important is to have a palate to identify the taste, texture, and the concept. So I forced them out, and we have a very good following in France now, and I get on well with all the chefs in France. And so finding a job for these guys, before they came to work for me, they could only dream of going to work for Alain Ducasse, or Guy Savoy, or Joël Bouchon, or Jacques Maxima. Now it's the case of just writing a letter very politely, giving them 2 or 3 months' notice, and they got offered an amazing job. And how long have we been living all together?
A week.
A week?
Yeah.
And whereabouts? You come from Ireland or New York?
I come from New York.
So where did you work in the States?
In New York City, I worked at Aquavit, and I worked at March, which is Wayne Nish's restaurant, and I worked at another small restaurant in New York.
Good.
And in San Francisco, I worked at Bisou, which is a small French bistro at South Market, and I worked there for 3 years. Started off as a line cook and just worked my way through there.
Good.
Yeah, and finally paid off my student loan, so
now
come to Europe.
How old are you now?
25.
So you're still very young. Are you spending the day with us, and I'm sure we'll have a chat with you tonight?
That'd be great.
You can't really participate in service.
Okay.
But keep your eyes open. Have a good look round. Lunch is very fast, very curious. But just wander from section to section, but obviously try not to get in the way.
Yes.
And tonight's a lot slower, a lot more controlled. We've got 35 for lunch, 45 for dinner. So it's going to be very exciting. You make sure you get a copy of the lunch menu this afternoon.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Okay.
Okay, should I just ask the waiter?
Yeah, check with Jerry or one of the guys, and we'll get you a menu.
Okay,
and then go and have a break with them this afternoon. We don't get much time for breaks here. Are you used to working long hours, or are you?
Yeah, my last job.
6.5 hour day.
Last job I averaged 12 to 16 hours. So.
Right. So you're not scared of hard work?
No.
No.
It's my blood.
Good. Okay, well, I'll talk to you later.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Terry, can you arrange, Rachel, isn't it?
Jennifer.
Excuse me, can you arrange a menu after lunch?
Yes, Gordon, of course.
And I said to Jennifer, take for a nice hot chocolate on Fulham Road. Is that okay? Have you got any plans this afternoon? There you go then. I think there's only so few women in this country because of the conditions, I suppose. In France, I mean, I've worked with so many girls, talented girls. I've recently just come back from Italy and had a wonderful time in a 3-star Michelin just outside Verona, and the owner, chef, was a woman. In this country, we don't boast tremendous conditions and great prospects. We can name 5 talented female head chefs throughout Great Britain, which is appalling. Different reasons they may get sidetracked, they may fall in love, get married, have children, and of course it's certainly not the conditions downstairs to be 5 or 6 months pregnant. As you saw, it's hot, it's difficult. But I've had, in 4 years, I've had 3 very talented girls go through the kitchen. Madeline has been with me a year. She just had an amazing contract from Danielle's in New York for 18 months. She's on 30 or 40,000 US dollars. And by the time she goes back to South Africa, having a year and a half under her belt working with me, an 18-month contract for Danielle's, she'll be 24, 25. I mean, she'll be able to, raise her own finance and open up her own place, which I hope she'll do. But it's the same old saying, especially in the kitchen. I mean, there's, you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen, and no pain, no gain. It's hot, of course it's hot. Oh, it's the kitchen. What a faggot, leave it alone. Christ almighty, it's hot in here. Oh, Christ almighty, what do you think it's going to be? Cold? Well, it's always been hot in the kitchen. The problem with you is you don't spend enough time in here. I always like having a girl in the kitchen, in general. Guys don't like to be bollocked in front of women. They hate it. It controls their language in the kitchen. And you may say, well, who am I to say that? Because the language sometimes is not pleasant. But kitchens are tough. I remember playing a testimonial game once at Rangers in amongst 10 or 11,000 crowd against a real sort of wimpy Saturday or Sunday morning team called East Kilbride. And they're amateurs. And we were losing 2-0 at half-time. And the bollocking we got at half-time was phenomenal. And in kitchens, it's exactly the same. We are under tremendous pressure. And sometimes you've got to deal with those problems and keep the problems in the kitchen. And that's the secret behind any successful dining room, to keep the problems in the kitchen.
Service. Give me Christophe, please. Give me Christophe. Give me Christophe, vas-y.
One nice walk, then. Wait. Thank you. Large roast, 3 muscular white table 10. One salads and jet, 1 ravioli, 1 cappuccino. We'll see 2 bar, 1 pigeon. Quickly, Madeleine, please, the muscal. Service. Tous les 3 là, des volets pâtes, s'il vous plaît. Allons, venons, s'il vous plaît. Après, on fait ça à la table à 9. Pile.
Beignets and monkfish, served with a sweet and sour sauce and garnished with wonderful braised lettuce. People think about braising meat, but there's a very delicate way of braising vegetables. And today we're going to braise these wonderful, little, exciting baby gems. And the idea of braising this is to impact maximum flavour. We're going to have light chicken stock reduced down inside this particular lettuce, lightly coloured in hot olive oil, and then just left at the side of the stove to sort of absorb the stock and go nice and soft, but maintaining that texture. That's important. With the monkfish, they've been sliced, put inside this wonderful crispy batter, shallow fried, and that's served with a very nice, tangy, fresh, sweet and sour sauce. This is the sweet and sour sauce that we saw earlier in the series, served with the salmon. Today we've done it with the monkfish. It's absolutely delicious. So first of all, to braise the lettuce, nice hot pan. Lettuces have just been cut in half. Obviously, don't remove the stalks. If you remove the stalks, then this lettuce starts to burst open, and we have all these leaves flying around everywhere. So keep the lettuce whole, cut in half, nicely washed, and into the hot olive oil, like so. And then nicely seasoned, salt and pepper. We're going to colour them lightly. Generous on the salt. Touch more olive oil. Just and we've got to cook these lettuce at this temperature. If we don't have this temperature in the pan, then this lettuce will start to boil, go soggy, and there'll be no impact on flavour. As you can see, we're nicely, beautifully colouring the lettuce like so. As we know, 70% of lettuce is full of water, so therefore that oil has to be hot. Caramelise the outside leaves, beautifully coloured, and then we're going to deglaze the pan with some fine, clear chicken stock and just leave that to absorb inside the lettuce and just put on the side to cook very, very slowly. Once they've started to colour, you can see they start to break down. They've got this lovely colour. The leaves start to become wilted. Now it's time just to add your stock, like so, and then just a few knobs of butter around the outside. And this is where it almost becomes like a fondue. The stock reduces, is absorbed throughout the lettuce. We've got the wonderful colour on the outside of the leaves, and then we're just going to very carefully place 2 butter papers on top, just to keep that heat and that moisture inside. Leave that stock to reduce down, and by the time the stock's reduced, the salad will be nice, glazed, and have this wonderful flavour imparted inside these wonderful braised lettuce. And the actual lettuce, you'll see in 6 or 7 minutes' time, will start to absorb all the stock and almost become like a sponge, this wonderful fondue of lettuce. It's such a lovely way, exciting way of eating lettuce. These are monkfish tails which have been removed off the bone, the very fine membrane removed, and that's important because if the membrane is not removed, then these things tend to curl and they get cooked, the fibre strengthens, and this horrible, twisty, awkward piece of monkfish. So remove the membrane, and then very, very carefully, I'm very particular, especially with this bloodline here. This is just a very fine line of blood. Remove that, and just lightly trim your tail. So we've got this wonderful, nice, clean flesh tail. This is about a 2.5 pound to 3 pound tail. Filleted. I'm just going to slice these wonderful, nice, thin scallops, like so. Now it's important while we're slicing these to understand the fact that we can't have these medallions, let's call them, too thick, because we're shallow frying them in a very fine, crispy, light batter. That last little tail piece there, just round it off, and then just maybe come under and slice it in half, because as you can see, they all have to be the exact same thickness. Otherwise, we're going to have some fish that is overcooked, some undercooked. And it's important to keep them nice and thin to get this crispy batter on the outside and maintain the moisture inside the monkfish. Place the monkfish medallions into a bowl, like so. Just open them up, and as you can see, they almost look like scallops. And then we're going to very lightly season them. Seasoning, I've got some fresh ground pepper, salt, a very fine hint of Chinese spice, and then from there a very nice fine madras powder. Mix up the monkfish and let it absorb and almost dry out those wonderful spices. So you can see it's already started to taint it. It's a different colour, and the smell is wonderful. Chinese fire spice, the very light season of curry powder, and then just very, very carefully sprinkle that with a little flour. We do this at the end in order to absorb any excess moisture, because bearing in mind we're frying these and we really want the batter to coat the monkfish. So if you don't lightly season the fish with the flour at the end, then you'll have this horrible spitting noise. It's very dangerous, and obviously the batter will not stick to the monkfish. So turn the monkfish very carefully around the bowl and get these wonderful little collops of monkfish, nice and dry, because that's going to take the batter a lot better. Therefore, the end product, whilst we shallow fry it, it's going to be far crispier than ever expected. This is the beignet batter. This is made out of whipped egg whites, egg yolk, nicely seasoned, and flour. It's a natural batter, and it has no yeast in there, so therefore we should have a wonderful, light, crispy batter. Monkfish into the batter, and this process has to be done very, very quickly, just nicely coated, off to the side, and then bang, drop in, straight into the fat. Be very quick on this, because we all want them to cook very, very evenly. Again to the side and into the batter. Just give them a little shake round to make sure they're not sticking. And then in. And please, please, please make sure your fingers don't go anywhere near that oil. Be very, very careful. Like so. And then just lightly coat them, turning them around and making sure, of course, that the oil is not too hot. If the oil is obviously too hot, then there'll be too much colour. The fish will still be raw inside. We want this nice golden brown on the outside and nice and moist in the centre. So just turn them round frequently, prevent them from sticking to the bottom, and then finally, with your spider, very, very carefully, out of your oil onto beautiful paper to drain off any excess fat. They should take between 1.5 and 2 minutes in that hot fat. Just be very, very careful, leave them to drain. Whilst they're draining, don't forget to season them. The batter will take the salt a lot better when the batter's hot and crispy and cooling down, as if you went to season in 3 or 4 minutes' time, the salt will just bounce off. Now that it's still very hot, from a height, season and spread your seasoning so it goes inside the batter and almost marinades the outside, keeping it nice and crispy. Now the lettuce has been cooking for about 7 or 8 minutes. The stock is absorbed. The salad is nicely glazed. As you can see, it's just cooked like a fondue. It's soft, it's textured. As you can see, it's got this wonderful, stunning glaze. They're nice and shiny, beautifully coloured. I'm just going to very, very carefully remove them out of the pan, like so. Slightly drain them to get rid of that excess juice. Now the flavours inside these lettuce are amazing. They still hold their texture. They're not overcooked. They have a touch of crunchiness still left in the centre. As you can see, the glaze on them is beautiful. We're going to place the lettuce onto the centre of the plate. Be generous with the lettuce, because don't forget we started off cutting it into half, so therefore, that's just one little baby lettuce, like so. Our monkfish, beignets, sat on top, as you can hear, that wonderful crispiness. And just one finally on top, and then very light sweet and sour sauce. We're just going to glaze around the plate. Don't go over the batter, because the batter's still nice and crispy. And then finally, just go round the outside with the olive oil and cut that sauce. And then we have the beignets of monkfish served on some beautiful fondue of lettuce with a sweet and sour pepper sauce. Bon appetit. Okay, very exciting part of the lunch or dinner, and sometimes a lot of customers take this for granted. This is a stunning collection of cheeses, which is a wonderful way of finishing your last drop of red wine. In France, we tend to have cheeses after the main course, followed by pudding. In England, we're the other way round. We start with puddings and we finish with cheese. Anyway, here by my side is the wonderful Eric, who's responsible for this stunning board, and I think the most important thing, Eric, is that very little customers really understand that cheeses are seasonal.
Cheese are seasonal, yeah. Some cheeses, if I take the example of Michelin,
Yes.
they will be made with summer milk, and they're going to start to be produced out of the farm like October,
Really?
for all the winter, like Christmassy cheese and things. Cantal is beautiful in the spring because
Yes.
the milk is very rich too. It's grass, which is quite fat, is going out. So
Right.
they're gonna
So
have
there's a strong difference between cheeses that are produced in the summer than there are to cheeses produced in the winter.
It is, because it's stronger. On a way, when I said that the milk is rich, it's because it's more fat in the milk, it's more creamy. The milk
Yes.
is more thick. Because the cow or sheep or goat, they will eat fresh flowers, they will eat fresh grass.
Right. And does that have any effect on this flavour? I mean,
It does.
apart from the richness, I mean, the intensity of the flavour, will that tend
It
to
does
change?
affect a lot on the summer. If you take Conte by example, you try on the summer, the
Right.
Conte make on the summer, it's going to be a wonderful flavor, really nutty, tasty, fruity. If you take one made during the winter, it's quite poor in taste.
Excellent.
It's going to be very mild,
Good.
not so rich.
What extent do you go to ensure that the quality of the food that is served in my restaurant is matched equally by your cheese? I mean, to what small detail is involved to produce such stunning cheeses like this?
First of all, I will try to see which kind of food you have, which kind of cheese you like.
Yes.
So it's really important because when you like the cheese you like, you're going to advise them to your customer. You're going to give them your taste because if they're coming around your restaurants, because they want to have your taste and your passions. First of all, we mature them,
Yes.
so we can give you a different level of maturity. They can be quite young, they can be very creamy, very strong, or mature. It depends.
Yep.
How do you like the cheese? And we try to make a nice, as we have here, a nice combination of cheese and all the tastes different.
Yes.
And all the you can have really a big palette of taste on cheese balls like that.
Yeah, beautiful.
And texture different too.
So now I know why they cost so much money.
yeah.